Lung cancer is one of the most devastating diagnoses anyone can face, and it continues to be the leading cause of cancer death in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. Every year, thousands of families are shattered by the news that a loved one has lung cancer. The numbers are not just statistics. They are people who once breathed without worry. You might be shocked to know that what you eat could either fuel this deadly disease or help your body fight back. Certain foods have been found to contain bioactive compounds that directly influence cancer cell growth, inflammation, and even the ability of tumors to spread. These aren't magic bullets, but they're real, scientifically supported tools to use. We're not talking about exotic, hard-to-find ingredients. These are foods you may already know, but likely underestimated in their power to destroy cancer cells or stop them from ever forming. The first food that stands out when we talk about fighting lung cancer is cruciferous vegetables, especially broccoli. This isn't just about getting your greens. Broccoli contains sulforaphane, a powerful compound proven in multiple studies to target cancer stem cells, reduce oxidative stress, and detoxify carcinogens from the lungs. What's horrifying is how many Americans still smoke or live in polluted urban areas across cities like Los Angeles, New York, or Chicago, where lung exposure to toxins is constant. Sulforaphane helps neutralize these toxins before they can cause DNA mutations that lead to cancer. In lab studies, sulforaphane was shown to inhibit histone deacetylase, an enzyme linked to cancer progression. The United States National Cancer Institute has even supported research into cruciferous vegetables for their cancer-preventing properties. But how many people actually eat them daily? Then there's garlic. This isn't just a cooking staple, it's a cancer-fighting powerhouse. Rich in allicin, garlic has shown strong anti-cancer effects, including apoptosis or programmed cell death in lung cancer cells. In China, a study showed that people who ate raw garlic at least twice a week had a 44% lower risk of developing lung cancer. It's shocking how few people in Western countries like the United States or Canada use garlic for anything more than seasoning. Yet, this tiny bulb has the power to kill cancer cells without harming normal cells. Think about that. Oncologists from several cancer centers in the United States have even started integrating garlic supplements as part of nutritional therapy for certain patients. And when you roast garlic, you lose most of the allicin, so the raw form is key. Turmeric is another miracle root that has been extensively studied for its anti-cancer effects, largely due to its active component, curcumin. Researchers at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center, one of the most respected cancer institutes in the United States, have published studies showing how curcumin inhibits the growth of lung cancer tumors, stops metastasis, and boosts the body's immune response. What's heartbreaking is that curcumin is poorly absorbed on its own, which means many people are eating turmeric but getting none of the benefits. It needs black pepper to activate its absorption. This is crucial. The compound piperine in black pepper can increase the bioavailability of curcumin by 2,000%. This isn't an exaggeration. If you're someone who adds turmeric to your meals, but never combines it with pepper or fat, you might be missing out on its full potential to fight lung tumors. Green tea, rich in epigallocatechin gallate, EGCG, is another critical weapon against lung cancer. EGCG has been found to inhibit angiogenesis, the process by which tumors develop their own blood supply. If a tumor can't build new blood vessels, it cannot grow. Scientists have studied populations in Japan and observed significantly lower lung cancer rates in regular green tea drinkers, even among those exposed to environmental pollutants. That's huge, especially when you think about cities in the United Kingdom or Canada, where air quality can be compromised by industrial pollution and seasonal wildfires. Yet in the United States, most people still opt for sugary sodas, energy, drinks, or processed beverages instead of green tea, which is not just an ancient remedy, but a modern, science-backed protector of lung tissue. Tomatoes deserve far more attention in cancer prevention. Lycopene, their key antioxidant, is particularly effective against lung cancer due to its ability to protect cells from oxidative damage. Oxidative stress is one of the biggest triggers for cellular mutations that can lead to cancer, especially in the lungs where oxygen exchange is constant. In United States-based studies, smokers who consumed diets high in lycopene had lower markers of DNA damage in their lung tissue. This doesn't mean lycopene reverses years of smoking, but it helps buffer the long-term damage. The irony is that processed tomato products, like tomato paste or cooked tomatoes, actually increase lycopene availability, yet many people still avoid them due to outdated fears about nightshade vegetables. Berries, especially blueberries and raspberries, are loaded with ellagic acid and anthocyanins, which have shown direct anti-tumor effects in laboratory models of lung cancer. In fact, researchers from Harvard Medical School have been studying berry extracts for their ability to suppress gene expression linked to tumor growth. It's not just about eating berries for the sake of antioxidants. These fruits interfere with cancer cell communication and can even influence epigenetic changes that slow tumor progression. In interviews, some lung cancer survivors in Canada and Australia have said they added large quantities of berries to their diet as a key part of their recovery, believing in their cellular benefits and anti-inflammatory action. One survivor recalled how every day after chemotherapy, she would blend frozen wild blueberries into smoothies just to protect whatever lung tissue remained functional. Carrots, often overlooked, contain a compound called falcarinol that has been shown to reduce cancer cell proliferation. In animal studies, rats fed a diet high in raw carrots had a significantly lower incidence of tumor growth. The lungs are particularly vulnerable to carcinogenic compounds from cigarette smoke and air pollutants, but falcarinol appears to help shield lung cells from transformation into malignant cells. What most people don't know is that the compound is heat-sensitive, meaning raw carrots offer more protective benefit than cooked ones. While most health campaigns in the United States mention eating your veggies, they rarely specify preparation methods that actually retain cancer-fighting compounds. Apples, especially the skin, are rich in quercetin, a flavonoid that has demonstrated anti-inflammatory, anti-proliferative, and pro-apoptotic properties in lung cancer cell lines. A study conducted in Australia found that individuals who consumed the highest amount of quercetin had a lower risk of lung cancer, even among people with a history of smoking. The tragedy is that most people peel apples before eating them, throwing away the very part that contains the highest concentration of cancer-fighting phytochemicals. In interviews with patients in United Kingdom-based hospitals, some shared that they wished they'd learned about this earlier, especially since apple consumption is common, but often nutritionally minimized due to sugar fears. Ginger is not just a remedy for nausea. The active compound 6-gingerol has been studied for its role in preventing metastasis in lung cancer. A groundbreaking study in the United States published in the journal PLOS One found that 6-gingerol reduced lung tumor size and improved survival in mice models. Ginger can inhibit cancer cell migration and invasion, essentially preventing the spread of lung cancer to other parts of the body. Sadly, many people only use ginger when they're sick with the flu or cold and completely ignore it in their daily routine. Adding it to meals, or even steeping it into tea, could provide not just flavor, but crucial protection against the #1 cancer killer. Mushrooms, particularly shiitake and maitake, are high in beta-glucans and lentinan, compounds shown to Boost the immune system's ability to detect and destroy cancer cells. Japanese researchers discovered that lung cancer patients treated with lentinan alongside chemotherapy had better immune response and slower tumor progression. It's a massive oversight in most Western diets that mushrooms are barely consumed, outside of occasional pizza toppings. In some parts of the United States, people still believe mushrooms have little to no health value, despite overwhelming evidence showing how their unique polysaccharides can enhance natural killer cell activity. ADD, key function in stopping tumor growth before it becomes lethal. Pomegranates contain ellagitannins that transform in the gut into urolithins, compounds that can inhibit the proliferation of cancer cells, particularly in lung tissue. In United States-funded studies, pomegranate extract slowed down lung tumor growth and enhanced the effectiveness of traditional treatments like chemotherapy and radiation. Yet, many people still think of pomegranates as exotic or seasonal, when pomegranate juice or freeze-dried powder is now widely available across American grocery stores. If you knew a fruit could help make chemotherapy more effective and protect healthy lung cells, would you start consuming it today? The last food in this group is walnuts. These are high in omega-3 fatty acids and polyphenols, both known to suppress inflammation and inhibit cancer cell proliferation. Lung tissue is highly sensitive to inflammation, and chronic inflammation is one of the precursors to tumor development. Studies out of the University of California have shown that diets supplemented with walnuts reduce the size and number of lung tumors in mice. The type of omega-3 found in walnuts, alpha-linolenic acid, has shown promising results in suppressing the enzymes that allow lung cancer cells to invade healthy tissue. The tragedy is that many people still consider nuts fattening or unhealthy, completely ignoring their therapeutic role in fighting deadly diseases. When it comes to lung cancer, most people think about treatments like chemotherapy, radiation, or immunotherapy, and while those play a crucial role, the importance of food is often overlooked. In countries like the United States, where lung cancer survival rates are lower than they should be, patients are rarely told that their grocery cart could either support recovery or silently sabotage it. We already went through 12 powerful foods that destroy lung cancer cells, reduce inflammation, and boost the immune system. But understanding how these foods work in the body, the mechanisms behind their effects, and the mistakes many patients make is what truly changes lives. Because these foods don't work if people don't know how to eat them, combine them, or use them consistently. In the United States, the average diet is still filled with ultra-processed foods, hydrogenated oils, sugar, and chemicals. These aren't just unhealthy, they are fuel for tumor growth. When someone is diagnosed with lung cancer, it's not just about removing bad things, it's about actively feeding the body with compounds that fight disease at the cellular level. Broccoli, for instance, has sulforaphane that activates phase 2QD detoxification enzymes in the liver. These enzymes neutralize the same carcinogens found in cigarette smoke and industrial air pollutants. But did you know that overcooking broccoli destroys its sulforaphane content? In Canada, some cancer dietitians recommend steaming broccoli for no more than 3 to 4 minutes to preserve its anti-cancer power. Most people boil it until mushy or microwave it in plastic containers, both of which reduce its benefits. This is what happens when powerful information gets lost in a sea of general advice like, just eat more vegetables. The reality is, cancer cells are complex, aggressive, and fast-adapting. You need to hit them with precision tools, not vague ideas. Even in the United Kingdom, where there's rising awareness about food and cancer, many patients still don't know the difference between eating raw garlic versus cooked, or drinking turmeric lattes without the pepper needed to activate curcumin. One major problem with the healthcare mindset in the United States is that most oncologists are trained in pharmacology, not nutrition. This leads to tragic oversights. Imagine this. Someone gets diagnosed, they're given chemo, they lose their appetite, they get fed pudding and white bread in a hospital bed. What if instead they were given nutrient-dense smoothies with wild blueberries, raw spinach, soaked walnuts, ginger, and pomegranate powder? What if hospitals gave patients the same fuel elite athletes get to recover? Because fighting cancer is far more demanding than running a marathon. In Australia, some integrative cancer clinics are starting to embrace this model. They give patients tailored anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer food plans alongside treatment. But in the United States, insurance doesn't cover nutrition consultations for cancer patients in most cases. That's heartbreaking. Families are left Googling foods to fight cancer while their loved one lies in a hospital bed. Let's go back to green tea. One mistake many people make is drinking it cold from a bottle. Most store-bought green tea drinks in the United States contain high-fructose corn syrup, artificial flavoring, and almost zero EGCG due to poor storage and oxidation. Real therapeutic green tea needs to be steeped fresh, at the right temperature, not boiling, but about 160 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, and consumed immediately. That's when EGCG is most bioavailable. Studies done at UCLA showed that lung cancer cells exposed to concentrated EGCG stopped dividing and started dying through apoptosis. That's how precise it is. But if someone drinks one bottle a week with added sugars and no real EGCG, they get no benefit. These are the types of lifestyle changes that are small but absolutely critical. Across Canada and the United Kingdom, green tea consumption is growing, but it's not enough unless it's consistent and properly brewed. And not just once. Daily, multiple cups, like the patterns seen in Japanese studies where lung cancer risk dropped dramatically in elderly populations with long-term green tea use. The same applies to tomatoes. Lycopene is fat-soluble, which means it must be eaten with some healthy fat to be absorbed. People who toss tomatoes onto a dry salad and call it healthy might be getting only a fraction of the lycopene they need. In traditional Italian-American cuisine, tomatoes are often cooked with olive oil. That's where the real health benefit comes in. In lab tests, lycopene has been shown to reduce oxidative DNA damage in lung tissue exposed to cigarette smoke, but only when absorbed properly. In fact, in a United States clinical trial, patients who consumed tomato paste with olive oil had a measurable reduction in lung biomarkers of inflammation within just 2 weeks. That's the kind of change people need. Real food used in the right way. This isn't about trendy diets. It's about biochemical defense against one of the deadliest diseases we know. Then there's berries. It's not just about antioxidants. Blueberries have compounds that can suppress the expression of COX-2, an enzyme involved in tumor-promoting inflammation. Raspberries contain ellagic acid, which interferes with estrogen receptors found in some lung cancer subtypes. What most people don't understand is that the skin and seeds of berries hold most of the power. Yet in the United States, most juice companies strain those out for texture or sweetness. In Australia, studies from the CSIRO suggest that whole, wild berries have dramatically more anti-cancer potency than their commercially farmed counterparts. The wild versions have to fight harsher environmental conditions, producing more protective phytochemicals as a result. People who eat one serving of wild berries daily could be reducing their cancer risk significantly. But how many grocery stores across North America even sell wild varieties? And how many people even know what they're looking for? Carrots work best raw because cooking degrades falcarinol. In studies conducted at the University of Newcastle in the United Kingdom, it was shown that falcarinol not only stops cancer cells from dividing, but also enhances the communication between cells, something cancer cells disrupt to grow and Metastasize. The most effective way to consume carrots is to shred them raw into salads or blend them into smoothies. Juicing can also work, but again, the fiber helps slow absorption and enhances the overall benefit. In Canada, some wellness clinics advise their patients to juice carrots, but combine them with beetroot, lemon, and ginger for synergistic anti-cancer effects. But in American culture, raw vegetables are often ignored in favor of cooked side dishes that are overboiled, butter-soaked, or microwaved to death. Apples are another one. In most American households, children are given sliced apples without the peel. That one action strips away a powerful layer of flavonoids that help prevent lung cell mutation. In a 10-year Australian cohort study, apple peel consumption was correlated with reduced lung cancer risk, even among former smokers. Quercetin, the active compound, blocks the PI3K pathway, a key signaling route used by cancer cells to survive and proliferate. What's devastating is how few nutrition labels or education programs actually highlight this. Instead, people are told to eat more fruit without being told how or why. In interviews with cancer survivors across the United States, many described how discovering quercetin led them to keep the peel on every apple and even dry them to make quercetin-rich snacks during treatment. Ginger needs to be fresh and raw for full potency. The active compound, 6-gingerol, breaks down when heated too long. In the United States, most people consume ginger in candy, cookies, or powdered spice form, which have very little medicinal value. But fresh ginger, grated into warm, not boiling, water and steeped for 5 to 10 minutes, releases 6-gingerol effectively. The University of Michigan Comprehensive Cancer Center published findings that showed ginger extract reduced inflammation, markers, and oxidative stress in lung cancer cells. Ginger doesn't just help with nausea, which is common during chemo. It has the potential to stop the spread of cancer. Yet most people still associate it only with colds, ignoring its deeper, healing role.